Hey guys, this is Unrivaled Sage here. I just want to give you a quick update on what's going on with the podcast. This episode is actually recorded last week, so this should have aired the 2nd of June. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a week late because Smash and Splash had my prep time absolutely floored, and getting back from it, we really only got kind of set up back into everything Tuesday. So this episode, a week late. Again, I apologize for that. And next week, I will actually be at E3 and Nairo Saga, so I will unfortunately be unable to record. Vayseth and Suar may or may not record without me, but so we'll see there. So just definitely stay tuned to our social media, stay tuned to our Twitter at the set count to find out updates there. But hope you guys enjoy the episode. It's definitely a good one. And if not next week, then we'll see you in 2 weeks for the week of the 23rd. Take care.
Three, two, one, go!
And welcome to the Set Count, your source for tournament results, storylines, and analytics set to the tune of your speakers. I'm your host, Vayseth. I'm here joined with my wonderful co-hosts, Suar and Sage. First up, Suar, how you doing today?
Good, man. First day of grad school. Really excited.
Oh yeah, you did seem pretty busy lately, so is that going to be okay with the PGR coming up?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. We've automated a lot of the processes, and we've been working for close to 2 weeks now. So the next couple of weeks are just grind with everybody else. So we're all
For
good.
sure, especially since Nairo just hit S tier, and CEO's on track to hit S tier. It looks like it's going to be a pretty explosive finish to the season.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty wacky.
For sure. We're also joined by the ever busy Sage, who's taking his sweet, precious time before Smash and Slash to join us here this week as well. How you doing, Sage?
Last day of prep, man. Last day. And then actually, June for me is not busy after that. I'm going to Nairo Saga and then staying there to go to E3 for a couple days.
Lucky!
I know, it's just gonna be like a relaxing kind of like week directly following the hecticness that has been this month leading up to Smash and Splash.
Yeah, oh yeah, pro tip, we probably won't be able to record then, just so everybody knows, right after Nairo Saga, but...
Well, I mean, if you guys still want to do it, you're more than welcome, but I will not be on that show.
Right.
Unless I don't know. I'll look to bringing some recording equipment along.
Yeah, that seems like a rough, but like, how did you get into E3?
I just have a friend who had an extra media pass, and she works with like Call of Duty,
Mm-hmm.
and she specifically was like doing a bunch of trailers, or it's Call of Duty, and I think she also helped out with Destiny, the new trailer stuff. So she had an extra ticket, and I was debating going to Nairo Saga, and then she was like, hey, I have this extra ticket, do you want to go? I was like, yes, I do. So I booked a flight early enough for Nairo Saga, and then I'm staying out through that week.
That is so sick. That is like something I've always wanted to do. Maybe sometime.
Go to E3?
Yeah.
E3 is really cool. I used to always like set aside a bunch of hours to watch it when I was a lot younger,
Mm-hmm.
and get super excited, and now I'm just like, now I feel like bitter because every time it's just waiting for Nintendo to do something.
Well, I mean, Nintendo hasn't been doing anything at E3 for a while. They do a direct though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was back when Nintendo was doing stuff at E3.
True.
It's like the bitterness started because it was always just like disappointing.
Wait, but isn't this the first year that E3 is open to the public?
Yes, this is. You technically can just go and buy a ticket, but I was able to get like a media pass, so I'm pretty excited.
Nice.
Maybe I can see some secret things.
Dude, you should let us know here on the set count. But yeah, we as Sage is busy, and I have some prior commitments this week that I got to work out, and I'm sure Suar's busy with graduate school and whatnot. We're going to do a very quick episode for you. We have 2 quick topics that we want to cover, but before we do that, we got to hit the numbers.
It's time for the numbers.
You're never not gonna do it that way, are you?
And never. It's
I
always
love
going to
it.
be that way.
So, numbers this week have a pretty good turnout going across all around the world, except really just North America and Europe. Starting off, let's just go ahead and hit it with MomoCon 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia. 286 people defeated. Well, not all of them, but Nairo did take the tournament with the Zero Suit Samus. That was a really good victory for Nairo, which put him on the board in terms of like the PGR for a higher spot than he was previously, only because people really expected a lot of him out of Greninja Saga, and he unfortunately was kept out of the top 4 for that. So good job to Nairo. He's also the defending champion since he won MomoCon 2016, and he had beaten Fatality, who apparently won MomoCon 2015. So there's a good storyline for the books.
Yeah, there was a MomoCon Grand Finals, which no one saw coming. Like, both of them, Fatality and Nairo, beating Zero, like, that was insane. It was probably one of the craziest top 8s I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, Fatality went wild, man. It was all over the place.
Yeah, he somehow unlocks it at the most, at the clutchest of times. And he did beat Zero, which was ridiculous. I think he 3-0'd him.
Yeah,
he
did.
No,
He did.
3-1.
I thought it was
Okay.
3-0, because I thought he beat Diddy, Sheik, and
Oh, no,
Falcon, like, right in a row.
Well, the Falcon, he won the Falcon Ditto, 0. And then it was the next game that Fatality won. So it was 3-1.
Oh,
But
okay.
Still,
Yeah, but
that's
every game that
crazy.
Fatality took, he like kind of crapped on Zero.
Yeah.
That's what he does. But yeah, going on to the Midwest, we have Combo Breaker 2017 in St. Charles, Illinois. Esam, who had taken Combo Breaker 2016, won once again, this time featuring a nice mix of Samus and Pikachu. I think he went all Samus in Grand Finals.
He went all
Against
Samus
strong
through all of
numbers.
singles.
Except for one match, I think he tweeted. I think he did one match with Pikachu.
Only in winners finals of doubles, he went him and MVD went Pikachu Cloud game 5. So he played one game with Pikachu.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Samus main for the day. I know that John Numbers got second with Wii Fit Trainer, so nice to see top 8s are still wild 2 years after the game.
Dude, it was
And
so weird.
And not
Like-
just Diddy, Chic. It's still pretty diverse, for sure. But yeah, congratulations to Esam. Port Priority in Seattle, Washington, Fallen, taking it with his Rosalina, over 136 people. Notably at that tournament was Rich Brown, Elegant, and Arvark. Congrats to Fallen, who's been pulling in serious weight ever since he has broken out with that 0 victory at Greninja Saga. So congrats
Should
to
change his
Fallen.
name to Rising, you know what I'm saying?
Ryzen with a RISN.
There you go.
Yeah. So congrats to Fallen. We had Shift actually in my backyard in Foxborough, Massachusetts. It was an event put on by Big Blue Esports, the same people who put on Shine. Registered for Shine 2017 actually. That's happening in August. Mars, to the surprise of nobody, took it with Zero Suit Samus, over 101 people, so congrats to Mars. I believe this is one of the first events that Big Blue was sort of trying out for like a regional as opposed to a major, and it seemed to have gone really well, so congrats to them. And then in Germany, with 100 people, we had Calyptus Cup Essen Frame, which sounds like just 4 words randomly together. Oh no, wait, Essen is the name of the town it happened in, so sorry for my ignorance. In Essen, Germany, Wussi took it all with his Fox, over 100 people exactly, so congratulations to Wussi, which I believe is how you say W-U-S-I. But yeah, that'll be the numbers for this weekend. We had 770...
Wasn't there a 100-person tournament in Michigan?
Oh, yeah, but apparently there was like a split for like the top 2, so the bracket was never finished. I mean, yeah, there was a 100-person tournament in Michigan, but I don't know, it was inconclusive, so didn't put that one in.
Yeah, I heard they got like kicked out of the venue or something because they ran overtime.
Okay, drama. So 773 unique people this past weekend, which is higher than some of the past weekends we've seen, only because we kind of had a breath in between some of the other tournaments that seem to take a lot of our entrant count. I mean, I'm just looking, last week was 464, the weekend before that was 733, the weekend before that over 1,000, and the weekend before that 678. So it seems like around 700 plus or minus 200 is where we hover when it comes to these weekends. So good stuff to everybody, and let's go ahead and get started with the show.
Yeah, for sure. So there's two things that we want to talk about. Obviously, there's tons of things going around in the Smash Twitter sphere right now, but the main thing that I wanted to point out is that we have a very interesting post on 4chan. Every once in a while, it's still relevant, but mostly it's relevant when Leeks. So we're in that season where we're still trying to think, is there going to be a new Smash? Is there going to be, I don't know about you guys, but I'm also kind of hoping E3 brings up a new Pokken because we need a new version of that since the arcade has been updated. So there's a lot of people buzzing right now. And 4chan V released a whole bunch of photos. It almost looks like.
Yeah, it looks like stills, and it's funny because I remember last time, at least I got my information from 4chan the same way, which is really funny. I didn't think I'd talk about 4chan on this show. But yeah, they released a couple of stills. We got them up here. If you haven't seen the link on Reddit or Twitter by now, I mean, it's Friday when you're listening to this. So I don't know where you've been. But in one picture, we have Mario against Bowser Jr. and what looks to be like a Yoshi Story Paper Mario type cutout. Everything's looks cardboardy. But some people have been mentioning, it's funny, I love it. Every time that leaks come out, everybody goes off forensics and they're like, oh, well, this pixel on this percentage. Well, apparently people allege these were Japanese leaks, but it says Bowser Jr. instead of Koopa Jr. So again, maybe a little bit of an inconsistency, but yeah, it's the first still.
Yeah, the OP is in Japanese, and the Japanese is, it's not bad, but it doesn't seem like native, you know?
Okay, so a potential fraud.
So that's why the Bowser Jr. thing is relevant, because it would be Koopa Jr. if it was a Japanese leak. But yeah, the OP is in Japanese.
Isn't the stage that they're on, isn't that like a remaster of the Paper Mario stage from something else or something like that? Like it looked, wasn't there like a 3DS stage that was like that or something?
Definitely looks like it for sure.
I don't know. My 3DS is still on the version like that Evo played, so I don't know.
Well, if you look at the other screenshots, it looks like there's a 4-quadrant thing, which looks a lot like the 3DS version of Smash Run, where there's a timer in the center and everybody's running on different, like,
well, actually, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice, but if you look at Ness on the top right, you have Toon Link on the bottom left, like in the same whatever it is. But they're all running around. It's Smash Run, right?
I think that's the idea. Isn't it Smash
called
Run?
Smash Run on 3DS, right?
Yes.
Smash Run.
Yeah, Smash
and then
Run.
Smash Tour was the console, like,
which was like
Game
the way
Board.
worse version.
Oh, I know.
It is worse than Smash Tour, but it is worse than Smash Run, but I've had a hell of a lot of fun on Smash Tour. Like I'm totally
it's
down.
like
You're filthy casual.
The frustrating thing, I think the frustrating thing is that like Smash Tour didn't sort of like satiate everyone's appetite for like a Subspace Emissary type thing going, but Smash Run sort of had that, like, you're hitting baddies. I guess this time with power-ups, that's kind of cool. I mean, I remember I played it on the 3DS and like I went through it, and by the time I was done with it as Sheik, I had like all this crazy equipment, like all my jabs killed, like needles or like one hit. It was
like
fun.
playing Kirby Air Ride. It was super fun.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so
it seems like
they're bringing that. It seems like they're bringing that, and it's funny because it's 4 split screens. So if this is a Switch thing, then if we're all holding our Switches, and we have that, it looks like a tiny little piece is cut for you. So people are talking about that.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like the Switch has been built for that mode, but people have been kind of crapping on this image too, because it looks like some of these are like the 3DS models of these characters. Like, though the Luigi does not look high res at all, and like people are trying to compare like the Wii U and 3DS Toon Links to show that like this could have easily been created using like the 3DS as well. So
the other thing about that image too that I saw people were pointing out was that it shows like you have the image of Toon Link on the left and Ness on the right, and then in the image where it zooms in on Toon Link, Ness should still be visible based on where he is, and he's not.
It kind of cuts off like exactly, but you should. I mean, yeah.
I think it looks like he's just like the camera's just far enough that you would still see part of Ness based on like where the pillar is in the image and stuff.
Well, not necessarily, because if you look at the bottom left Toon Link, the first plank of the board away from the brick, and this is why leaks are so funny, because people like go so ham and trying to disprove or prove it. But like, if you look at the bottom left, the first plank, like the board, the 2x4, gets cut off. And if you look at Ness's picture, his right foot is over the edge of the beam. So it technically ends where it should in Toon Link's screen. It's just like, I don't think it's just like a cutoff. But I like that Toon Link is at least in Ness's picture. I mean, it shows that you can like hit on each other. This is a true Smash run, like the 3DS. Because I think like in the 3DS version, I mean, I literally do not remember. And if you want to correct me, go ahead. But I think like you spent your time in the world like getting power-ups independent of each other. You might run into each other and then a timer ends and then like all your power-ups get factored in and then you fight.
Right.
You
and
can
like
still
a
hit each
free-for-all.
other while you were
If
in
you found
Smash
each
Run.
other,
Yeah, if
right?
you found each other.
But you can go to like different things, and so this kind of shows that like because Pikachu's like I don't even know where, and then Luigi's like cracking crystals somewhere.
Yeah,
Like,
and then there's the Mega Man and Mario one, which shows not a 4-player one, but it looks like a 2-player split screen as well.
oh yeah, so yeah, that's a third screenshot. So that's interesting. I think that when people are talking about the models, this could be. I mean, because playing Mario Kart 8 on the 3D or Jesus on the Switch, I mean it is gorgeous. So I don't know that they would like reduce like the fidelity for like some of the models, like the resolution.
My only
Because
thought is that since it's on the Switch, and maybe when there's 4 people in Smash Run, they just like super downscale it or something.
well, actually,
Or
I
it's a
guess
beta build.
or it's a beta build. I mean, the only other thing is that maybe it's like a model in between the 3DS and the Wii U, so like a third like quality, which is like in between. Because I guess it's true, like you have to factor in a parent, since Switches with Mario Kart and I think Splatoon have been advertised with like having like 8 to 10 Switches present. I think 8-player Smash is on the table, so they have to be ready for like 8 Rosalinas, which is what breaks the game, right? So we'll see if they scale down. So and it's also beta, potentially. I mean, these stages look weird, like
It also might be super fake.
Yeah.
or it might be super
Well,
fake.
okay, yeah. Regardless, we don't know, but the thing that we want to cover is, what does this possibly represent? And Smash Run in a new potential Smash 4 game? Yeah, that sounds pretty sweet. Like I'm all in for that. How are you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's well. First of all, it confirms that the Switch is even having Smash, which is like the biggest thing. And then if it's having Smash, it means that it's gonna have a balance patch because it's just will. I mean, it's gonna be a port, and they have to patch it. And if they don't patch it on release, like if they release the game as 1.17, I mean, there's gonna be a new patch like after that because they've been patching Breath of the Wild. I don't believe they patched Mario Kart yet, or maybe they did. I
Well,
They
think
when
did.
it came
did.
out, it didn't have fire hopping anymore for Mario Kart.
Well, that was like like a patch before release, but I'm saying even if they don't patch Smash for the Switch, there will be at least a month later something, right? So
Maybe.
I imagine, I mean, there'd have to
don't-
be some stability fixes and other stuff.
Stability, maybe. You might get like an online fix type patch, but
I mean, with the tone they've taken in the first one with actually patching gameplay, I wouldn't put it past them, especially since it'd be such a like big title,
it depends on what their team is doing though. Because
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, who
they might have guys
freaking
who are just
knows?
literally directly porting it and no balance team or any like gameplay fix type stuff in mind. They have a couple guys porting it and that's it.
That's true. I mean, there's so much that can happen, but I think at least for the sake of the conversation, the fact that it's confirmed, even with Smash Run or not, is like really big.
Yeah. So if that is true, like that calls into question all the things that we've talked about before, where we've talked about wish lists and like what characters we wanted. I think Sage said he wanted an Inkling character.
I'm so Inkling's like destroying my bank account. If it has an Inkling in it, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
It seems like favorable, and the most intuitive are Inkling and at least Ribbon Girl or whatever the hell the blue
Springman?
guy is. Springman, I guess. One of the two would make the most sense.
Or it'll
like-
be Twins Hell.
Or both. Oh my
Ooh.
god, that would be ridiculous.
But yeah, either way, like those would probably make sense. A lot of people say that they want, Wolf or Snake to come back, and of the two, probably Wolf is a lot more likely. But either
That would
way,
be wild.
yeah, either way, like a lot of people really excited, and the fact that we're seeing leaks at all, even if people are making them and they're fake, it just shows like how much hype is up for this, and like a lot of people are really looking forward to E3. So hopefully we get something confirmed pretty soon, because that gives us all players, streamers, organizers. That gives us all a lot of time to really like try to get ready for this new format, because it will take some time to adjust.
I love leak season, by the way. As soon as a leak comes out, like Smash Twitter is the most fun place of all time.
Yeah,
I woke up, saw leaks, and was just like, I'm just scrolling, man. I just want to see nonsense.
I remember where I was when I saw the 3DS character select screen and Duck Hunt and everybody, and I thought that it was the most like fake ass freaking poorly arranged character selection. I was like, there's no way that that's what it'll be. Like the squares, everything just looks so dumb. Like I was like, there's no way Duck Hunt's in it. Like what? That's stupid. And then here we are.
A Michigan player said that if so and so, I forget exactly the tweet or whatever, but he sent a message basically saying like, if so and so is in is in the game, it was either Duck Hunt or Mega Man, I don't remember exactly who, but he's like, I will send a dick pic to my father-in-law or something like that. And then it ended up being real. So yeah, you can get a lot of people with their pants down, literally or figuratively, with some leaks.
Do you guys remember that post that went viral when Shulk was leaked? And somebody was claiming that it was just a photoshopped Little Mac because they had the same angle on their face.
Oh my god, yeah, that meme is still alive. I think it's like the top comment on the Reddit thread pertaining to these leaks. But you get all sorts of like, it's because like you can't make sense of it. So people just like try all these sorts of different things. Like it's so funny. And there's so much that in terms of like game development where the stages of the game could be leaked out where people can't understand it. Like we could see a bunch of wireframes, if they were testing like hitboxes or something, but people would say all this other different stuff like, oh my god, like there's I don't know, like fighting polygon team is coming back or something, like people just try to make sense of so
Dude,
much. But one of the big things we didn't talk about actually, oh wait, you were gonna say something?
I actually think that would be cool if a company that did like fighting games or even Smash leaked wireframes. And you just like intentionally, because everybody would be like trying to match who these wireframes were and stuff. Like you would build so much hype that way.
Potentially.
Yeah, there was the other thing coming back apparently through these leaks was break the targets, which I would be a super fan of.
Oh yeah.
Break the
Especially if
targets is
they
cool.
were different for each character, like they were in Melee. Like that would be sick. But
Yeah, they'd have to be.
yeah, in any case, I think we should talk about whether or not leaks are a good or bad thing in general. And I know Sage really likes leaks, and I think Suar and I are on the complete opposite spectrum where we're not like a huge fan of leaks. So we just want to talk about leaks in general and like what they do and like whether or not it's good or bad for the community. So Sage, take us away. Why are leaks good?
Leaks build hype. Leaks specifically can sell games.
That's true.
I think leaks are huge for game sales. Because like, okay, let's say if this leak is real and all of a sudden this person has 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 retweets on this leaked image, everybody's now thinking about Smash on the Switch, right?
And possibly getting it because of a potential confirmation of
right.
Break the like, targets or something.
It's just a random leak, and even if it's not real, whatever, or let's say this leak isn't real but it's in the works. Even fake leaks, I think, are good for hype and press, just because like now these people are talking about this game, whereas before we were not. We were talking about competitions or whatever, oversaturation. Yeah, we're all burnt out. But now all of a sudden,
everyone can get behind leaks is the thing.
Yeah, do you remember how insane Brawl leaks were?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was nonsense. I would wake up every day and before school check Smash Dojo.
Yeah, smash the F5 of the dojo. That's what all of us would do.
Yeah, dude, all the time. It was just, oh my god. And then like I saw Sonic show up. I F5'd it and Sonic was there and I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So it drives up the meme economy, it drives up the buzz, it drives up like all the impressions on the game. Like
right, and actually I just want to say real quick that I first found out about these from somebody who's not in the Smash community, who like I went to high school with. He was like, "Bro, have you seen these leaks?" And that's where I first found it. So like these leaks even have far outstanding reaches beyond our own community as well.
Yeah, and like, you'll get that Kotaku article, you'll get like the NeoGAF, IGN articles like, this is what we know so far. Like, just silliness, and it's just more like, someone who maybe quit the scene a year or two ago, they're like, oh, let me look on that, because they were, going about their normal business, and an article came out that was accessible to them. I mean, you're right. Leaks in that sense, it's instrumental sometimes to like the make or break of like really huge sales for a game, especially a game like Smash where you have such a passionate community. Like I'm already looking at the Twitter thread, and there are people like with paint like circling parts of the image and like piecing it together, and
Just
like
the X-Files music playing in the background.
yeah, like they're trying to like they're like circling like this like section of the picture and like linking it to this. Somebody put Little Mac on top of Bowser Jr. Like it's so funny. like there's one that says like Pikachu's too big to be normal but too small without a mushroom. Says that the Luigi model's a 3DS model. Like all these like self-proclaimed basically like professionals all of a sudden. It's just so funny, it's so crazy. Like it gets everybody, like everybody can play, because nobody knows if it's real or not.
Yeah, and
Right.
I also think that I know probably what the biggest thing that people are like, I don't like leaks because of this, is now if these images do get released, it kind of kills the hype.
Hmm.
And I don't think that's the case, though.
Well,
Isn't-
well, here's the thing. The thing that I wanted to say, like, as far as like to flip it on the side, is like, yeah, but you mentioned like the dojo and stuff like that. There's a difference between like official leaks and official marketing campaigns, and people going out of their way to like leak something, like kind of like this, where it is not, at least to our knowledge, official. And like these companies spend so much money on marketing campaigns and like trying to craft their announcements like just the way that they want. And if you get a small piece of that picture out of context, you never know what's going to happen, and you're basically stripping those companies of the creative control to make the announcements themselves. So you're spending them a lot of money and potentially causing them a lot of grief with unauthorized like leaks, like things like Smash Dojo and whatnot, straight from the source. Like that's great. Like trailers on a Nintendo Direct or whatever, that's great too. But like you have like these seem to be like harmless or whatever. But if they leak something like a brand new character reveal that had like especially if it's a third party character, that could cause Nintendo so much problems. So like, ugh.
here's my counterpoint to that, and I don't think it really takes away from the marketing, because no matter what with a leak, everyone is going to be skeptical, right? It's the nature of a leak. No one knows. Is it true? Is it photoshopped? What is it? Is Bowser Jr. Little Mac? Whatever. And so instead now of all of a sudden this is the first time they're seeing it, now instead your trailer is confirming it. So people can freak out and go, oh my god, that leak was true. Or they can see something like, wow, that leak was bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, I think for what Vayseth is talking about, and it's true for like many different projects. I mean, like think about like I mean the example that I was going to use eventually in this conversation is like even like the PGR, where the list once it gets finalized, there's just 50 names that are in order, and we're building up so many things around that to be released in the perfect like execution from like the articles, the videos, like everything that goes on, and to have someone like day one like publish it all, like that kills like a lot of like the drive that goes into like the rest of it. Like anything sullies it for the dev team for a lot of these instances, and also like the public relations team for like things that like just steals their thunder, and that bites, and that's not something that like the maybe common gamer thinks about when they think about these leaks, because it's such a like far reaching like high conglomerate type issue. But that's where it kind of does hurt a little bit, but not enough to make me stop sharing a leak.
Right.
I have a really interesting like counterpoint story to this. I don't know if you guys saw this recently, but there was a leak from the new animated series Voltron from Studio Mer, the guys they're Korean based and they're doing the animation for it, right? Hired out through DreamWorks. And there was a leak through their company of official storyboards and artwork and things like this. And that puts them at a potential for a lawsuit from DreamWorks.
Right.
And the person who leaked it is now stating that they will
Wait, is that the hostage one?
Yeah, that's the one where they won't take
The
the leak down
ransom?
unless they like make these two guys in the show gay for each other.
Canon.
They want to make it canon because all the fans like ship it.
Wow.
So
That's
there's
so
like
funny.
that's about as bad as it gets for a leak, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I
I
mean,
think
like
that is different though
you
because
could
it is a
see
TV
movies. Well, like as bad as it gets for a leak, like an entire movie got leaked online, and now that movie like won't make as much in the box office. Like I think that's ultimately the worst it could possibly get.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's a difference between that's like piracy and
Oh,
borderline
true.
theft, right? A
Mhm.
leak is just like if we saw a leak of some upcoming Marvel movie that we didn't know about. Like, I don't know. I think it sucks that leaks happen. I guess for people planning, but I do think that companies can plan around it and almost take advantage of leaks.
Yeah, I mean, just at the end of the day, they're not really good for the company. I know that leaks, especially, well, I'll always bring it back to this because I'm always good for it. Like leaks are a huge problem in Magic the Gathering because when people leak things, it causes shockwaves across their entire economy. Like something is leaked, like let's say a notable card is getting a reprint or something, like that'll cause that card to tank in price, or some new card is leaked that like works really well with another card, and then that will cause that card to like shoot up in price. And then if it's fake, then like it just kind of screwed up the entire Magic economy. So like
I think
depending on
that's different though because it's a video game leaking a character versus a card leaking that directly affects the price of like a metagame. Like no matter what, it's not like if some character was announced, or let's say it announced that like it leaked that they were nerfing Cloud. It's not like Cloud's value goes down. He's still $5.99 at the end of the day.
right and
Well, I
like
think I think
yeah.
just like the extrapolation of leaks into another scenario, like how it could be damaging. Because at least for me, from when I played Magic, like every pre-release was already like online, like all the thing about a pre-release, in case you don't know, like a Magic the Gathering, anytime a new like set of cards are introduced, they have an event called a pre-release in which essentially, everybody gets together, opens a bunch of packs, and makes a deck on the spot, goes against each other. And the fun of it is that nobody knows the new cards. People find broken cards, broken combinations, and it's all surprise. But for years now, because of like, different releases in different parts of the world and internet, like almost every entire set is already available online for people to look at like a week or so before the release. So it kind of like makes the experience not as great. And if you wanted to play for money, in which those cases are really for fun, but you could still win,
Well, you
some.
win booster packs that you can't
Yeah.
buy, so and those are sellable. So
Yeah, you win something, right? Like you could potentially get the up and up on somebody by researching all those cards before, going to the pre-release, and then beating someone who didn't. So it kind of bites in that sense. It's like a double-edged sword because it's hype, it's all this stuff you can prepare for, but it also makes it like not as much as a surprise anymore. It's like finding out what you're getting for Christmas, like, when you were younger, like day before.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
definitely
mean,
it has potential to kill the hype for sure. But I think in a video game scenario where everybody wants to play these characters and everybody like it doesn't affect the meta really. Like me going to a trailer and seeing, let's say if I saw the Rosalina trailer like 3 weeks before everybody else, no matter what, that doesn't change how I'm gonna be able to play the game versus you when the game hits.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in our community a leak affects the meta or the tournament because for all we know, like they take away Bayonetta's third jump in the patch, which would be the gag. But I think that for other instances where like there's more like money riding on the leak material itself, whether or not you're gonna buy it, not gonna buy it, sell it, whatever. I mean, for our senses, it's like the worst thing that happens to the leak in this situation is that it upsets Sakurai because he didn't get to like present the game in the way he wanted. Like
well,
there's already articles floating around, or
well that
maybe.
that's not entirely true either because like let's say it was a leaked video, right? Somebody leaks that video and now they're making money like off those views, or like all the impressions and whatnot are much lower than if you had done it in your grand marketing campaign as shown. Now you don't have like those likes, those retweets, those impressions
I don't
that you
think that's
probably
true
would
though.
have.
I think that no matter what, people are going to,
And those get taken down so quick when it comes down to it. Like
yeah,
no
if it's
one except for
monetized anyway.
yeah, no one
Yeah.
for except for obscure YouTube people, or like if it gets mirrored to a different site, or if it's 4chan. I mean, no one's doing it to make money. No one makes money off of leaks on that scale. I mean, maybe like a paparazzi leak, but for stuff like that, like from YouTube, it's minimal.
Yeah,
And
either
I
way.
think that no matter what, Nintendo, even if they put out those screenshots in tomorrow or in 3 months, and they're the exact same screenshots, and we're like, these are official, everybody's gonna share it around. Like everybody who saw the leak and shared it is also gonna share that and be like, it was true.
Yeah, I just kind of hope that like I think the number one thing with game companies is they don't want something leaked that isn't ready to be leaked. Like this obviously looks like a beta. If it's true, it does not look that good, which will then be like everyone's huge complaint about it, and then it sort of like kills the hype. It's like, wow, this new Smash game on the Switch, it looks terrible, and then therefore they're like, wow, these new games that are coming out on the Switch look terrible. So I think that's why video game companies are so strict about leaks, is they want to make sure that everything's polished and ready to be put out on a schedule, so that way people don't like criticize it, which can affect sales.
That's
So
true.
like,
That can directly affect the company, and I think that there is a way that leaks can affect Smash, like the economy, in that let's say it was leaked that there was a Switch version coming out, and like all of a sudden people are like, I can't go to any majors because I gotta save for the Switch Smash.
right,
And
right.
that could potentially affect you, but I don't think it's going to affect you to the point where it's like this huge issue. You might get like maybe 20, 30 people that say that. I can't imagine you get like 200 that are, I can't go to anything, I got to save up for Switch.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I know Suar and I aren't huge fans of leaks because of probably our experiences with other non-Smash things, and I think this is probably like the most like non-obtrusive leak I've ever seen in my life. And like like Sage says, it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter who you are, if you're pro or anti-leak. When the leaks come out, you're gonna look for them and you're gonna talk about them like we are right now. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like human nature, like we want to know something that we didn't know before. Information is great. So whenever we get it and we get something that's leaked or whatever, it's like, ooh, we get something cool that we're not supposed to see, and everybody loses their mind over that kind of stuff, regardless of what it is. So
I actually do
Yeah.
think, here's one of my experiences with leaks from the music industry. Was a band that I knew, their album leaked, right? Their entire album. And so you could just find it online like 3 weeks before release. And what was interesting that they ended up finding was like their social media presence when it was leaked was like 6 times higher than both before and after the album actually had been announced and dropped. And it did affect sales a little bit for them, but only by like 3%, 4% of what they expected.
oh wow.
So
Yeah,
it
and you can-
actually built up like this huge social media presence where in my mind more people probably bought it because of it.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, there have been cases before where musicians and just other marketing firms like strategically leak things discreetly to cause that buzz. Like, for example, right now, like things are pretty quiet in the music world for like Designer, right? And Designer hasn't had like a really crazy album this year or anything, but like you can start like seeing things around line, and then all of a sudden like people are like, oh my god, like it's coming out, you know, if they start picking up traces of like legitimate leaked portions. I mean, it could be played to the advantage of the organization if they're graceful or like super tactical. But I will say that the other thing too is for Smash leaks, I'm already seeing its effects like locally, where all the Facebook groups I'm a part of New England Smash, South Florida Smash, Connecticut Smash, like billion Smash groups. Everybody has the screenshots and everybody's saying like, apparently this was leaked, I don't know, blah blah blah, da 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 da. 80 comments about what they want, what they don't want, what's funny, what looks whack. And that's important. I mean, nothing else drives that. Like, if you were to post right now in like MDVA Smash about tournament oversaturation, nobody would want to comment.
Right.
But you post Yoshi and break the targets, and you got 50 comments on break the targets.
right. No, it's
So it's
true.
important.
No, it's cool, and it's an interesting discussion. So it's definitely a lot more damaging in other places than Smash. But
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it very much depends on your media, on what gets leaked. And I think that video game companies definitely should kind of take that marketing route where it's like, let's plan some leaks.
either
Because
way,
people are
Yeah.
talking, right? And now more people are going to have their eye on Nintendo because now they want to know, was the leak real? Was the leak fake? Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, especially during a time like this where like the entire year, at least the entire like 2017 year, there hasn't been a peep about Smash for the Switch, but there's been all this ARMS, all this Mario Kart, all this Splatoon, and people are and since E3 is literally like right around the corner, it's this upcoming. I mean, today's what, the last day of May, so yeah, it's next month. Like, is Nintendo waiting for ARMS to be out so that the Smash announcement doesn't cannibalize the game? And they're going to do it at E3 or not? And this is what makes that leak so much more relevant. Like, if this happened like a year ago when the Smash Switch wasn't even out, it'd just be weird. So that's why the timing is so damning, even if it's a fake,
Yeah, they could, like, you're right. They could actually, if Smash Switch was actually confirmed, then people would be like, well, I'm not going to buy ARMS because I'm just going to play Switch or whatever. So, like, that is
There
another
hasn't
way.
been a thing on it. But then it's like they just released the amiibos for like Cloud, or maybe I don't even know if they did, but they're like about to or whatever for Cloud and Bayonetta. Like, why are we releasing amiibos like 2 years after the game? It's just weird. It coincides with E3. It coincides with the potential announcement for like a late. If they announce it at E3, then it's probably 3 or 4 months after. So it coincides with like a late
There,
fall release.
yeah, I was going to
Like,
say, there isn't a holiday release for Switch planned or announced yet that I know of.
oh yeah, and then it goes and fills in the blanks for like, the first month was Zelda, the second month is Mario Kart, the third month is ARMS, the fourth month is Splatoon, the fifth month. So it kind of fits in there. I mean, then you start like to put on your tinfoil hat and like everything makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Either way,
But
we've been leaking all over the place for a while, and we want to do a quick episode. So let's move on to another thing that we're pretty passionate about, which is overlays. So as some of you guys noticed, either on Reddit or on Twitter, some people were overly critical
it was
about.
okay, wait, like, okay. For I don't know who did the overlays. I know that like there were like some stream. I think Smash Studios covered the stream for like top 8 at least, whatever. But like people did not let up. Like even the PG Stats top 8 graphic were like people were tweeting at it and saying, "Wow, this is so much cleaner than those overlays, huh?" And it's like, damn, you guys are vicious. Like you guys are
It's like
so.
still going.
You won't
Yeah.
sub to a channel and like give constructive criticism, but you'll rail on an overlay through, during, and after a tournament. Like, I don't know, it's kind of nasty in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as MBG did do the substream for MomoCon, so I do have like insider information. I do know who made them, and I'm not about to like just put that person on blast, but I do know that it wasn't Smash Studios and it wasn't MBG. It was like through MomoCon specifically, and I don't know if they were like there was only one layout and they made Smash 4 and Melee the same because they have different aspect ratios, and that's what made it look so bad and why there wasn't like filled in space. But this, that, or another thing, it just shows that like a lot of people don't know about what makes a good overlay and like making different overlays for different games for different needs and whatnot. So I was hoping Sage, especially since you made that tweet saying that like a lot of people are copying off your Frostbite format but not filling in the empty space. So I think this is a good time for all of us to kind of learn what a good overlay probably should have. And Sage is just about to show us off a whole bunch of new stuff that he's been working on for Smash and Splash. So I think he's the perfect person to let us know. By the time you hear this, Smash and Splash will be on, so you'll be able to see it for yourself. So
Yeah, so I do want to kind of give a quick story about why the MomoCon layout at one point the game was so tiny. So that's actually what I don't know what if it has even an official name, but I've always referred to it as the 3 camera scene where you have your gameplay and you have a camera per player. So 3 cameras.
are you
And
talking about the Salem versus Fatality top 8 match that everyone was complaining about?
yeah, that was the big one that really blew them up,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
the reason that they were stuck on that screen was apparently because XSplit froze, and they didn't want to stop the match to restart the stream, and they didn't want to lose the footage. So they just played it through and said, just go. Like, just play it through, and we'll just have this screen for ants for a set.
Right. The exact same thing happened at the Big House 5. I don't know if you remember that, Sage, but Tourney Locator had the exact same problem where their computer kept freezing, and
I
it would
do remember that.
freeze. It would freeze on those screens, so that way, like, it would be like half a screen is like the players, and half the screen is like the camera, and the stream froze, so they couldn't do anything about it. So, like, this is something that happens not just at MomoCon, but like unfortunately has happened at other major events such as the Big House 5. So.
Right. It makes you think, like, hey, maybe we should invest in a recorder, like, in our chain of cables and encoders to, like, capture just the game so that in case we do crash, we won't lose any footage or whatever, and we can always just go back and edit it later. So there
Yeah,
are ways
either way.
around it, and it's just like, but the problem is it's so expensive to add these extra layers that most of the time aren't ever going to do anything. So it's hard to justify it that way. But in regards to building overlays for Smash, it's awful. Like, I'm just Smash is not. Oh my! It is not a symmetrical game. It is so hard to try and design overlays in any sort of fashion. The character portraits and stock icons in the game are not centered and not even across the screen. There's like more space on the left than there's on the right, mostly because like they don't mirror each other, right? They don't flip. It's just this one's on the left and this one's on the right, and like the character portrait is always on the left. So no matter what, it looks kind of weird where you can't perfectly mirror it, unlike other fighting games where they're like the health bars are perfectly flipped, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's super hard to design around that. And then on top of that, you have the three main trains of thought when it comes to what we should see during gameplay. There's some people want that like full camera where it doesn't block the game at all, the Frostbite style, right? Where it's got the cameras in the corners and you have this center overlay piece with all the score and stuff, and then on the right and the left are whatever you want to put there. And that's what I've been seeing a lot of people do since Frostbite, where they're kind of doing the Frostbite style, but they're either poorly executing it or they're not filling it in at all, where the spaces on the side, those like columns right above the player cams, are just empty, or they just use like the stock renders and it just doesn't look great.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're not even putting sponsorship logos or anything in there. Like, it's literally nothing is in there.
Yeah, so like it looked pretty good for Frostbite because we had like the flag and it was flowing and it kind of faded out along with the logo right under it into the character. So it had this nice like eye flow. And when you just plop a character, it's like, I don't know, it just kind of feels weird where it's just like, all right, this is really empty and they're just really tall for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, Smash overlays for the better part of always. Just, I mean, they could be really good, but it's so inconsistent across the board sometimes, and people just don't know how to voice their criticism.
Yeah,
a lot of
so
times, and they couldn't do a better job most of all. Like,
it's
in
yeah,
most
it's
cases.
really hard. And obviously, like graphic designers, like you want to pay them, and either you go cheap with a guy who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience, or you go expensive with a guy who does something. I'm lucky that I design all of our overlays, so like we keep that expense in house.
Yeah, I mean, so let's talk about constructive. Like, what can we do? Because a lot of people saw your work with Frostbite. Everybody seemed to really like the production behind that, and then they just tried to take it, and they didn't really copy it well enough to make it like still look good. So, what are your tips? Because I've seen people go in other directions, like the Greninja Saga overlay before Top 8 at least. It was, you know, a Pokeball animation. It would pop open, and then the player names and the score counts would make it look like Greninja's face in the top, and there was nothing on the sides at all. And like that was kind of cool.
They had the player cameras in the corners that would come in.
Oh right, but there was no actual like bar overlays. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, the game was
except
full
for
screen.
Top 8.
And then Top 8 they did the Frostbite style, which was weird because I really liked the other one.
Right.
And that's actually I'm doing. It's not totally new, but we're doing something kind of like that for Smash and Splash, where our gameplay screen is going to have the cameras in the corners, and it's going to be a full screen, and the cameras are going to be pretty small. They're going to be squared off, and all the information is going to be laid out the bottom. Almost, it's sort of like a mix of like Genesis, Greninja Saga, and then some Unrivaled tournaments type style stuff, where we always do the score ticks instead of numbers, because I think that's just a better solution, always.
Right. And like there was even Japanese players who were like adding me and you for a while, saying that like Frostbite's overlays are really easy to understand because like it doesn't even matter what language you're in, like the ticks are just like really good. So
right, it instantly shows best of 3 or best of 5 without the need to write best of 3 or best of 5 somewhere. So it saves you overlay space, and I feel like you don't want redundancy. And it's like that was an issue that I had with VG Bootcamp's overlays for Royal Flush, where I like VG Bootcamp's overlays usually, but for Royal Flush, they had the characters on, like, they had the characters shown next to the name, and then they also had, like, that rotating sponsor / character / flag thing. So at one point, there was a double Little Mac team, and on the left side, you had Little Mac's stock icon for the actual game. You had Little Mac's character portrait for the game. You had next to each player's name was a Little Mac icon, and then when it would rotate from the teams, it would show Little Mac icons again. So it was Little Mac like 8 times. I was just like, I don't need Little Mac, 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 Little Mac.
Right. Well, something I noticed for somebody who probably isn't very well versed, but probably something a lot of other people have noticed is when I watched Combo Breaker and I saw all these different kinds of games, I noticed a big difficulty with Smash versus other fighting games and whatnot is like with other fighting games you can actually find good spots on the actual gameplay screen where literally no gameplay is ever going to be. And with Smash, that's just simply not the case. Like if you put a camera in the corner or whatever, like you could be blocking an edge guard or something like that. Like in Smash is the only thing that like the characters could theoretically be literally everywhere on the screen at once.
Right.
So how do you like overcome that?
You like the other 2 options. I think I got away from it, but there's like you do the scoreboard at the top, which is almost like an NBA style or whatever. But then if someone like up air strings you have potential to go behind the scoreboard. You put cameras in the corners or something on the bottom, and you have potential to take away some sort of like bottom image there. It's hard. I think
like a big good spike or something off the side. If like they get spiked like right behind the camera, like that would be like, oh man.
Yeah, and I think that obviously Smash tries to center the players, right? So the camera follows them. So I think that the best space to use if you're going to do a full screen game is on the bottom. And I think you can get away with player cams. And I actually really liked the Umabura player cams, the Umabura Japan Major. They were just small enough that the only time they would ever get in the way is if Bayonetta did like a fair one, like to Fox, straight from offstage. She would have had to never jump. And then that's the only time you would ever have the cameras cover gameplay.
Oh, are you talking about Umabura Japan Major, the one that I went to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. I think when MVG, it's specifically Domo, like he does literally the entire stream. He does the overlays. He's like Unrivaled tournaments minus a programmer and whatnot. Like he does everything, and when he actually has time to like sit down and design stuff like that, he can do pretty good stuff. But yeah, I mean, it takes a long time. Like how many hours have you put into Smash and Splash?
Oh my god, dude. I don't talk
You
about
know? Oh yeah.
it.
And you're still going to be working on them this week, right? Like even during the tournament.
Finishing up tonight, and then I always do graphics during the tournament because we have like tournament specific graphics where we like do graphics for like pools and stuff like that. But that's always usually templated, and it doesn't take too long.
For sure. So I guess the only constructive thing that I've heard is like people should probably start moving away from the numbers unless it helps the overlay. Like for example, you couldn't do the strikes with the Greninja because like the numbers were its eyes. So like there's obviously special cases, but
yeah. So the eyes were cool. I don't know. I think just when you're gonna make overlays for a game, think about why you're putting something where it's going and like what it adds to the viewer experience. And if it doesn't add anything and it's just there to be there, then you probably don't need to have it there. Right? Like a big thing that I dislike a lot is when people put the commentators' names during the gameplay.
Right.
It's like I can wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever till we come back to the commentators, and that's unnecessary information that I'm taking in while the gameplay is up.
For sure. So
Awesome.
Like, are you then more of a fan of minimalist overlays during gameplay?
Yeah, I love minimalist overlays. My favorite overlay that we've ever done, and I haven't brought it back yet, but we did one for Show Me Your Moves where we actually covered the character's name with the player's name.
Oh, right.
And it was super minimal, right? Like it was almost like nothing was on the screen. And I thought it was really cool. But then you get into the issue of, well, if I'm watching for the first time, that character's name is now, I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't recognize Ryu right away, or I don't recognize, I don't know, like Shulk.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ryu is definitely a bad example though.
Fair.
Shulk is a good example.
So I am gonna mess with it. I'm doing a pretty minimalistic thing for Smash and Splash. For singles, doubles is different because you can't really put cameras in the corner because it covers stuff.
Right.
But then there's also the argument of like, do you want cameras in the corner? Is showing players during gameplay even worth it? And that's a super 50-50 split where some people hate it and some people love it.
Yeah, there is no in between. Like there are organizers who are super adamant about it, and then there are people like for one way or the other. And there've never been people who are like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like everyone seems to have a serious opinion of it.
Yeah, it's hard, man. You can't. Overlays are such a subjective thing right now, and until an overlay comes out and everybody's like, this is it, guys. This is the standard, which is not going to happen, right? You would need, I don't know what you need to make that happen, but I think you're just going to have overlays always all over the place.
A coalition?
A coalition. There you go.
Stream coalition that makes all the overlays for all the streams.
I mean, if you had a coalition that kind of oversaw everything, they could kind of be like, this is what we think looks best for Smash. Let's do that.
For sure. What are the chances of that, do you think? Of all the streamers getting together and being like, yay, some of us outsource, some of us don't. Like, why don't we pool ideas and, like, let's just do all each other's overlays for each other?
It wouldn't really be on the streamers, because ultimately, if an organizer comes to me and they're like, look, I have to have player cams in my screens at all times. Like, that's just what I want. Like, fine, I'm going to make you player cams. Or if they come to me and they're like, I hate player cams during gameplay, I'm not going to put them. So a lot of the times the decision can be on the organizer, unless the organizer doesn't care. And then they're like, it's the streamer's choice, then, like, we get to mess with it.
Right. That I forgot about that. Like, I literally just said it, but I forgot. Yeah, there are some organizers who absolutely must have something this way or another, especially when it comes to sponsorships and, like, how big their logo has to be in like, different. So, like, TLDR, everyone, like, overlays are not very easy, and there are definitely good ones. It's, like, really easy to tell if there's a good one, and it's really easy to tell if there's a bad one, but, like, it's kind of hard to, like, just put it all together at the end of the day.
At least it's not at a bad spot right now. It's just, it's weird because every stream that you watch can look so drastically different. So it can be really jarring if you come into an Unrivaled stream and you see the score ticks and you can instantly tell what round it is, and maybe we did the Frostbite style for this tournament, and then you jump over to, let's say, a Greninja Saga. It doesn't have the score ticks, so now you're guessing if it's best of 3, best of 5, but it's a lot cleaner. Like, it's not, I don't want to say cleaner, it's less on the screen. So maybe you prefer that, and it's just, how do you appease everybody without making someone upset?
Right, and I just now forgot, like, one of the biggest complaints about the Momocon one was there's so much dead space, and that's just, like, super hard to see the gameplay when you're on mobile. So, like, when you're a streamer, you have to think about not only, like, people on a big screen, but, like, on a small screen as well. It's, like, it's very complicated.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Dead space is the thing that you want to totally avoid, especially during gameplay. Like, if you just have a big chunk of space and there's no purpose for it, like, you need to fill that with something and make it at least a little bit interesting. So for us, a lot of the times for our dead space for, like, let's say the 3-camera scene, we fill that with, like, Twitter feeds coming through and the PG stats information that Suar provides us and all, like, these, like, little dynamic things that we can push through. But if you just have nothing through the whole tournament, it looks really bad, and it's just extra space that people will always question.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we can talk about Momocon and, like, what they couldn't done, but, like, if they had access to, like, fly-ins with Twitters or, like, PG stats or something, because, like, they were stuck with those overlays. They were made by Momocon. You can't really do anything about it. But if they had that technology, then they could have filled up that space with, like, Twitter fly-ins or, like, PG stats or something, and it would at least be interesting and add something.
Yeah, and all of a sudden that space has a purpose now.
Right. So little things that we can work on going together, but we're rounding up close to an hour, and we want to do at least one run back question. So why don't we do the run back?
Run back.
I like how every transition when I listen to this, like, later after it's been released, and we do either the numbers or, like, the run back or the little sound clip or whatever, it always comes back to us all laughing like we're, like, comedic geniuses. Like, that's so funny. 20 episodes later, we're still laughing about it.
No, I'm laughing at you every single time.
Oh, for sure. All right, who
Well,
wants to read this?
Why don't you go ahead and take this one, and let's end quickly on it.
For sure. Well, it's mostly a Sage question because we want to wrap it in because it's on the stream, but I will read it. And this is a question that was brought to us on Twitter from allfiction at I'm allfiction. And they write, could it be possible to somehow incentivize viewers on Twitch to start subbing to tournament streamers? Like on-stream sub-only giveaways during downtime? Is there some ethical or logistical reason this shouldn't be implemented to support stream growth? So, Sage, could you let us know about, like, if you're doing, like, a big house or a smash and splash, like, could you be giving away unrivaled subscriber-only things, kind of like how Nairo does on his, like, personal stream?
Legally? No, I cannot. Technically, that falls under gambling.
Oh, really?
So that is something that even personal streamers, while there's almost no chance that anything is going to happen about it. It legally is gambling. So they are providing money for a chance to win something back, right?
That's true.
So legally, no, I cannot do sub only incentives. You can legally do sub incentives on top. Like you can, let's say it was like a raffle. Subs could have 5 tickets and then everybody else could have 1, but you can't just do subs. It's like a really weird gray area where you might still you might still be able to do it, and you might be able to spin it in a way that you could do it, but like the potential for that legal issue is there.
I mean, like that's also like technically all tournaments we do are gambling though, right? Because you're basically putting a $5 or $10 bet on yourself that you're going to win a percentage of the money.
No,
So like,
because it is skill based.
oh, I see. So there is actually a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference if you can reasonably determine the outcome based on skill, it's legally not gambling.
Oh, fair enough.
But that is an issue that sometimes college kids run into when they try to run a tournament at a college. Colleges will view it as gambling and then you have to fight it and be like, no, it's skill based, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah, like this isn't random. Like you could play me right now and I'm better at the game, so I will win like 99 out of 100 times. Like,
yeah,
but if you do a raffle or something like that, then that falls directly into gambling because they're
if it's 100%, yeah, if it's almost 100% luck based or mostly luck based or whatever, then and you can't predict an outcome ever, then it is gambling.
Okay, so well, is there anything that not sub only giveaways, which is what they asked in the question, but is there any way during like your major events to sort of boost subscribers? Because I just saw today that Paradin said that like Nairo took a weekend off to go to MomoCon and he dropped almost 50 subs. So like that's another thing that we were talking about, oversaturation, especially when you have a huge Twitch count. Is like when you take a weekend off, like you can lose a lot of subscribers that can affect your livelihood. So is there anything that you could think of like to boost yours, like when you're not doing tournaments, or like specifically when you are doing tournaments, to like sort of like, hey, subscribe, other than to say, hey, subscribe?
Doing tournaments is like stuff during tournaments is hard. So for one, people don't sub to tournaments. Like it is abysmal to try and get subs, right? It's just people sub a lot of the times because A, they want to support a specific person that they like watching, or B, they appreciate like the memes or whatever that happen from that channel, and it gets imported into your emotes.
Right.
For a tournament channel, you don't really have like specific memes, right? Like there's no culture to your channel. You're just a tournament channel. So people almost view it like you're watching like Fox. Like it's like if you went out and directly gave money to ESPN. Like, that wouldn't make sense.
True. So what you're saying is there's no way to really like build, because I think 2GG's doing a pretty good job with like the To the Skies and like Rashido and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they're doing a good job with like some meme stuff here and there, and it depends on how professional you want to look versus how much fun you want to have, and I think there's a good balance, and 2GG's doing a good job of like kind of maintaining that balance. But even then, they don't have like a crazy amount of subs, right? They're not sitting here with 500 subs.
No, I was actually just thinking like they all only do their own events though, right? Whereas like there isn't like an Unrivaled tournament organizer, right? Like you guys don't run your own tournaments, do you?
We've run 2 tournaments ever.
Right, but you mostly go to other tournaments like the Big House.
Yeah, like we're hired out, so.
Right, so like you can't even like build a culture like they can, because they do like 2 weeklies a week and like a S tier or A tier every single month, so like they can build a culture around their stream. Because
but like, even then, like you see Nairo lost 50 subs and he didn't stream for a weekend. Right. When you're 2GG, you're not streaming for 3 weekends. How many subs are you losing during that chunk?
That's for sure.
And so there are ways, I'm sure, to incentivize it, right? There are tons of ways. It's just subs are so few for tournaments. No, I don't want to say like so few. Like there are tournament streams that have 200, 300, 400 subs, but in the grand scheme of things, if VGBC, I don't know exactly what their sub count is. It is public information. You can find it. But let's say they have 200, 300 or whatever. Even like Leva from Geeky Goon Squad, the best streamer in Europe, was like struggling to stay above 100. And then eventually he was at like 200, and it's hard. So there are ways to do it, but the money that would come in from that is so little compared to where else you could put it.
So
that
you're looking mostly for like YouTube VODs, and like that's where your tournament money's coming from,
yeah,
basically,
your
right?
tournament money, like obviously the money that you're hired on with, and then your tournament VODs, your Twitch advertisements. There's ways that you can spend that money to instead of incentivizing subs versus because that also has a potential to just not give you anything, right? You could put so much work into doing sub stuff and get 5 subs and be like, wow, I made like $10.
Right. So is there any other than like Twitch emotes or anything that like your subs could get, like theoretically, like what other incentives are there for subs? Because like honestly, I don't know a whole lot. I've actually never subscribed to anybody in my life. Like, other than Twitch emotes, like what else do I get for my $5?
It's like a lot of them, a lot of the common ones are like you get access to a sub only Discord, which for someone like Nairo, like you get to be in a Discord with Nairo and like goof off with him and whatever. For someone like us, like we're behind the scenes, we don't have that camera personality where like even Gimmer's like trying now to cultivate himself much more as a personality because there is money to be made through that versus for us like we're just a staff. Like people know me and probably none of my staff
That's true.
or maybe like 1 or 2 of my staff, right? So
Well, nationally.
nationally, yeah. I mean like locally, of course.
Right.
So, and most of our subs are from local people who just want to support versus, guys in California or Georgia or whatever just watching.
Right.
So you get like sub only discords. I think something that could be done, and it's something that I've been talking about with my team is maybe like a sub only tournament.
Like Nairo
But
does.
Nairo does it when he does it with himself, and he does it kind of like as his goofy fun thing. I think there is potential for a tournament stream to do a sub only tournament stream. Casters, full on overlay package, everything.
Oh, and like so you don't, but like I guess the incentive would be you don't pay the entry fee because they're subbing, right?
Yeah, so they're subbing. That's your literal entry fee, and then all of a sudden you get once a month. Maybe you're a guy that lives out in the country that can't attend tournaments, so you attend Nairo's thing, which is cool because it's like the Naifu tournament and whatever. But it's not super tournament focused. Like it doesn't have the tournament stream feel, right? It's still Nairo in his room. But if you did something like with a real tournament focus, I think that could be something really interesting for a sub thing. But again, that's extra work outside of a tournament stream that you just have to add now a new tournament stream, but instead online.
I wonder if like what if you could do that even for you could work with organizers that you're working with right now, like Smash and Splash or another big tournament where like you can offer a discount code through Smash GG because I know that those are easy to make for subscribers to your channel or something like that. And you could work out a deal with the organizers.
Yeah, it's tough because then you're taking money directly away from the organizer to feed it to yourself, and that might not be something that they're okay with.
Oh, like I help you, you help me type thing. Whereas like that'll bring down your fee or something like that. You know what I mean? Like because at the end of the day, subscribers are more valuable to you than just a general paycheck, right?
It goes both.
Yeah, so like there's possible ways that you could do some sort of advertising with that, but unless you're 2GG and you have your own brand and your own tournament series, it's kind of hard to do that anyway. So
Yeah,
either
because
way,
2GG, their money no matter what goes back to 2GG. Whereas if let's say I did that with Smash and Splash, if I offer a $5 discount code to my subs, then all those people who are my subs, now the organizers for Smash and Splash are not making the $5 on them, so they haven't seen any growth for themselves. They just gave a discount code, and unless it's going to pull in a bunch of people that weren't going to attend otherwise, it's probably not worth it.
yeah, I mean like I'm just thinking like let's say what if we thought of this for Frostbite and like the very end Frostbite like maybe as like a final registration push, but the venue fee was already like I think $55 or whatever. Like offering a $5 off coupon for like your subs as like a bonus, like probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal for me now that I think about it.
Right.
Like,
I mean, you could probably, as like a last minute push, yeah, you could for sure try to do something.
but there are definitely ways that we could probably think of ways to increase subscriber counts and like give better, more direct support to you guys. But when we find that out, we will definitely let you know.
I would love to hear some people's thoughts on it. So definitely hit us up on Twitter or Gmail. On Twitter, you can find us at the setcount, and on Gmail, you can find us at the setcount@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on subbing to tournaments. Why do you do it? Why don't you do it?
Yeah, or you can give us some run back questions.
Absolutely. I guess I didn't know if you had more from there. I was like,
Nope, that's it. I just want to use the raspy voice to see how you guys are gonna react. That's it.
It caught me off guard. Like I wasn't expecting this like guttural just volume in my ear.
For sure. All right,
But anyways, guys,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening each week. We appreciate it. Again, we are over 1,000 listens a week, which is really cool. Definitely, we're going to try to continue to grow. I want to hit 2,000. Hopefully by the end of the summer, let's hit that 2,000 a week listen. So definitely share us out whenever you can. When you see that tweet Friday morning, show it to your friends, show it to everyone on Twitter. And of course, you guys can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube for all the major podcast sites.
Sounds good. And I know it's been a busy week for all of us coming in, but enjoy the summer of Smash. June is here. And I hope that you guys are all tuning into all the major tournaments. There is definitely one a week for the foreseeable future. So until then, tune into the set count and tune into your favorite stream every weekend. But we'll catch you guys next week. This has been Vayseth.
And a global Suar.
And Unrivaled Sage.
We'll catch you guys next week.